algebra students, this is our introduction video on solving situations with inequalities. The focus of this lesson is on if I give you a story, can you represent it and solve it with an inequality? Go ahead, pause the video here and read through this first story. Our goal is going to be representing the story with one of these inequalities below. So after you read through it, you see it's about Max who's practicing multiplication problems. We are told that he already has finished 12 problems, so that's how many he has done at the beginning. And then he is doing 3 problems every minute. When we look at our options for our inequalities, all 4 of these start the same way, showing that he's starting with 12 problems already done. That's just a starting point, so there's no variable there because there's no multiplication with the 12 problems. And then he's doing 3 more problems every minute. So we're going to add 3 problems multiplied by however many minutes he does his multiplication, where x is going to be the number of minutes. This is really similar to what you've done in the past in pre-algebra and in Unit 1 of algebra with representing stories with equations. The big difference in today's lesson and in this problem here is there's going to be some part of the story that helps me decide which inequality sign we want to use. And that key information is going to be in our last sentence. We've got he wants to complete a minimum of 60 problems. So this here is his goal. And the key word in that is this word here, minimum. If you say you want to do a minimum of 60 problems, think about that word using like less than or greater than. Minimum means 60 is the smallest number he wants to do. He would not be happy if he only did 30 because 60 is the smallest thing he's okay with. That means he wants to do 60 or more. That word minimum means greater than or equal to 60. And so by identifying that's our key word, it helps me know that the correct answer is going to be C because it's got a minimum of 60 problems in it. So this would be how we represent the story with an inequality. Notice a lot of this is similar to equations and what you've already learned in the past. The big difference today is just picking out which of our 4 inequality signs you would want to use. I've got one more example below here where we are going to write the inequality this time, and we're also going to solve it to help us answer the question. Again, go ahead, pause the video here to read through our story and try to pull out any key information that would help us write an inequality. Come back when you're ready. So in this story, we've got Katie and Jose are saving money, and they give us some information about each person. We know Katie has already saved $500, so she's starting with a lot of money, and then she's saving another $50 each week. So that's our first person. Jose, it tells us, saves $100 each week. So it doesn't sound like he's starting with any money. So Katie's starting with more money, but he is saving more money each week. And so the question is asking, at what point will Jose have more money than Katie? We know she has more money in the beginning because she starts with $500, but because he's saving more money each week, eventually, with enough time, he will catch up and have more money than her. So there's 2 parts to this. The first part is we can represent the story with an inequality, so we'll do that first, and then we can use that inequality to help us find the answer. When we go to write our inequality, this story here is a little more complicated than the one before, so I want to organize it. We've got 2 people. We've got some information about Katie, and we have some information about Jose. Just focus on Katie for now. We know she starts with $500 and she's saving $50 each week. You already know how to represent that with algebra. What would that look like? Well, she's starting with $500, and that's a starting point. I'm not multiplying that, so no variable. And then she's adding more money. She's adding $50 every single week. That's something that happens again and again, and so there's some multiplication there. I would be adding $50, but I would need to multiply that by however many weeks she saves money. And so somewhere I want to say that my W represents the number of weeks. So this part in blue represents Katie. We could do the same thing with Jose. How do you think we could represent Jose's information? Well, he's not starting with any money, so I'm not going to have like a 500 or any number there. He just saves $100 each week. So for Jose, I'm going to say his money is $100 each week. And that W, same idea, it represents how many weeks. We already have most of our inequality, actually. The only part we need is the inequality sign. And just like before, there's going to be important information in the story that helps me decide what inequality to use. The last sentence tells us we are looking for at what point will Jose have more money than Katie. And that key idea there is we want Jose to have more than Katie. You can think about that two ways. You can think Jose has more money than Katie. That would also mean that Katie has less money than Jose. But that word more right there, and if you think about it the opposite way, that word less, that helps me know what inequality sign is going to go here. When you read your inequalities, you always read from left to right. And so I'm thinking I want Katie to have less money than Jose. And so my inequality would be 500 plus 50W is less than 100W. Now, this is one option. If you had written Jose's information first and then you had Katie on the other side, you could also say Jose's money, we want Jose's money to be more than Katie's money. And you could have also done this. Both of these are good and they both would give you the same solution. So at this point we have our inequality. The rest of this is just solving this inequality. That's what we learned in yesterday's lesson. So one last time, pause this video and solve this inequality. So I went ahead and I solved both. You do not need to solve both. But I did just to show you, it doesn't matter what order you write it, you get the same result. This is saying 10 is less than W. This is saying W is greater than 10. Both of these are telling me that W, which remember is the number of weeks, needs to be greater than 10. And so if I were to put that into words, it means after 10 weeks. I'm using the word after and not just saying 10 weeks because this doesn't say W is equal to 10. It's saying if it's more than 10. So after 10 weeks or more than 10 weeks, that's when Jose is going to have more money. We'll do more problems like this similar to this and the one above in class today. Thanks so much for watching.